All right, Shalom Akim. All praises goes to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Rakak Kwadash. Double honors goes to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, from whom we learn this truth. And much love and peace and blessings goes out to all you hopeful elect brothers that are teaching the word of Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai in truth and sincerity, as well as you sincere listeners, you brothers and sisters that are coming back to your God, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, in truth and in sincerity. So basically, I'm gonna do a lesson, quick video, based upon this article you see here with the title of "These Witches Want to Introduce You to the World of Sex Magic." So this is basically based upon the witchcraft and the witches' wickedness that's going on in America. You know, because you got things like this, witchcraft and these different sorceries and so forth that, you know, under these United States governments that's run by these Edomites, they allow things like this to happen. Because from the heads of the state, so to speak, the government, which in the ancient world, it would have been kings and judges and so forth, but of the judgment today, things like this, which are wicked in the scriptures, is allowed and forwarded. And this leads to basically the indignation of the Lord, because the practices of these of witchcraft, wizardry, druidism, shamanism, all these things is wickedness. Okay, when you consulting left-handed spirits to do to bid their counsel and everything like that, of divination and enchantment, all these different facets of the craft, that's wicked. That's not to be allowed, because in ancient Israel, that's what separates the Israelite customs from the other nations, because these practices are of the other nations. They're of the heathen nations. And when it comes to the Israelites were barred from doing this, because we have communication with the Most High, the Yahweh, through his son Yahweh Shai. And in the ancient world, we wanted to speak to Yahweh, we would go to the priesthood, and the priesthood would pretty much do these different rituals that got us close to the Most High. So when you go about performing witchcraft, that's basically being disobedient, and to most people that will seem like a light thing, because you got these different movies and just the traditions of America that make light of these things. It's fantasized and romanticized being a witch. Like, you got the Harry Potter series and everything. So to most people, this is just, it's a part of everyday life and so forth. They don't see anything wrong with this, but according to the customs of the Bible, like I spoke on, this is wickedness. I'm going to show you that witchcraft is wickedness in one quick example before I read this article, because the etymology of witchcraft itself goes back to being wicked. The two words wicked and witch both stem from Old English word for Wicca, and basically it means wicked. Okay, because if you look up both of these terms on the etymology, here you have for wicked, it says extended form of earlier wick, bad, wicked, false, which apparently is an adjectival use of Old English Wicca, wizard, see, witch. So these are related concepts of being wicked, like an evil person and a witch. Okay, so when you look up witch, it says of Old English Wicca, female magician, sorceress. In later use, especially a woman supposed to have dealings with the devil or evil spirits, and to be able by the corporation to perform supernatural acts. Feminine of Old English Wicca, sorcerer, wizard, man who practices witchcraft or magic. From verb Wiccan, to practice witchcraft. Compare Low German Wiccan. Okay, so you see there, this is acts associated with communicating with the devil. So let's read a little bit of this. It says, magic is real for these women, and they say one of Its most potent form, sex magic, can alter our lives in powerful ways. Magic has always been a part of Shani Mary's life. I even have an early memory of my 5th birthday at McDonald's, and my dad made a witch on a broomstick out of licorice. She told me during an interview for D is for Desire, HuffPost Love and Sex podcast. So here it is from the Huffington Post, which is one of America's media giants. They push out basically indoctrination for what's normalized to most people. What they push your standards, and what they're pushing is witchcraft. Why would you even be consoling with witchcraft and these witches and so forth? That's wickedness. But that's what it is in this place, because America is the mother of harlots. America produces witches and witchcraft. It says, but it wasn't until years later when she began to identify as a witch, had clocked some hours as an exotic dancer, that she discovered sex magic, which she defines as harnessing sexual energy and combining it with a specific intention to manifest an outcome. All magical practice is about what we intend, the intention that we make when we generate energy. The sexual energy was one of the most potent energies that we can tap into, really, because it's the energy that we're created from in some way. So that's just, I don't want to read anymore because this is just confusion. But when it comes to left hand practices, low level witches understand sex energy, and when you go to the top, Satanists and Luciferians, they harness sex magic in a different way, in the most potent way, which is on the left hand, which is molesting children, having sex with children, and sacrificing them to Molech. That's how they get their power. That's how you get in the $1 billion bracket, the $1 trillion bracket, the hundreds of trillions dollar bracket, and you own governments and armies when you do the sex magic and perform rituals involving children. That's what they do, and it stems from the leaders. Because if the leaders of this earth, as it was, were against witchcraft, these different women, like you read about this woman, she would be put to death. You know what I'm saying? If this was ancient Israel at the time of King David was ruling, women like this wouldn't have a platform to speak about their sex magic and all this shit. That shit will be shut down. But this just exemplifies how wicked this society is. It just shows you that this place is totally gone, man. Totally primed for the destruction of the Heavenly Father. Okay, so let's read a few precepts. This is Revelation chapter 17, verse 5. It says, matter of fact, let's read from verse 3. It says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And that woman represents America, because it's not an actual woman, it's a rulership. It says, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. So this shows you that, fame and wealth, because look, the woman had on gold and purple, which is fame and wealth. It's also closely connected to performing wickedness, because in her hand was full of abominations, wickedness, homosexuality, witchcraft, feminism, all right, rebellion against the Most High, idolatry. These are all the things that America, which is the woman, represents. It says, and upon her forehead was a name, which I say that example to say that that's how most people in this life get to that supreme level of wealth, because they make themselves abominable before the Heavenly Father. You know what I'm saying? They do low moral things to get their riches, and that's how they get it. Because in this world, the meek are the ones that are in that position of who the Lord is dealing with, because though they have few riches and everything like that, Yahweh Shai has come to these type of men and women to deal with them. That's why the Lord ain't dealing with the high up in this world, because they they drink of that cup of abomination, so they can sit in gold and everything, and scarlet, so to speak. It says, and upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. See? So that's why America is the mother of harlots and abominations, because America is basically holds within it all types of people that commit acts of wickedness, man. Acts of wickedness. And I explained what wickedness was in those few acts earlier, man. Sorcery and witchcraft, that's one of them. And that's what a lot of people actually are partaking in America. A lot of people are ditching the old religions like Islam and Christianity here in America to be witches. So this is Revelation chapter 21, verse 8. It says, but the fearful and abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. So that lake which burneth with fire and brimstone is the appearance of America burning. When America actually is burning from the thermonuclear missiles, it's going to be murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers burning in it. So that lets you know that sorcery, in other words, witchcraft, is a wicked act to the Most High, and that word for sorceress is pharmakos.
Strong's G 5332. Pharmakos.
And basically a druggist, a poisoner, a magician, sorcerer. So likewise, if you're a drug dealer, like these guys out here selling synthetic drugs and crack cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, you a demon. Salakia, I have a little bit of allergies. So let's go to a few other precepts. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 18. And this basically outlines wicked acts which you're not supposed to partake in. Deuteronomy 18 verse 9, it says, when thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. And Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is basically forewarning us of these actions of which we're not supposed to partake in, because the land which we were going to inherit in ancient Israel, and at that time was ruled by the Canaanites, they actually partook in these things. And the Most High was letting us know, like, you may see them doing these things, but you are not to do it. It says, there shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire. So child sacrifice. And that's actually something that's committed today among the upper echelons of society. These bankers and so forth, celebrities, Hollywood, they sacrifice children. It says, or that use divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination. See, remember we read Revelation 17, the mother of harlots and abominations. One of the abominations are these enchanters and witches, necromancers. That's all these things are being harbored in America, it says, and because of these abominations the Lord thy God doth drive them out from before thee. See? So these acts was the reason why Yahweh Bashim Yahushai actually destroyed the Canaanites from before us, because they were charmers and necromancers and so forth. When you're a necromancer, you commune with the dead. You know what I'm saying? When you're a wizard, basically that's like the male version of a witch. And if you go into the Hebrew, it actually has a different connotation, because these Hebrew words were basically different words of different avenues of witchcraft, like, people that bow down to idols, male witches, and people that put you under a spell, put spells on animals and houses and so forth. They will put spells on people for healing and so forth. Left hand magic, that's strictly forbidden, because that opens the door to idolatry. And actually idolatry These acts actually stem from idolatry. So when you become an idol worshiper, you start to partake in these things. So, and these things aren't banned in America. It ain't banned here. You can be a necromancer all you want, because America's a wicked society. This ain't no good, righteous society. This is a wicked place. So this is Exodus 22 verse 18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, meaning a witch must die. A witch is someone that's supposed to be put to death, okay? And this is the last precept I'm going to bring out. Nahum chapter 3 verse 4. It says, because of the multitudes of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts. And this is referring to America, because basically that's how America has got on. That's how America has prospered, is through witchcraft. It says, behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame, and I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and I will set thee as a gazing stock. So that's why America has been exposed through the voice of the prophets, because America has been partaking in these abominations since its inception. Like, you got the pretty much the layout of Washington D.C. is shaped in the shape of a pentagram. If anyone knows about pentagrams, that's associated with witchcraft as well, because they go into the 5 elements, and they cast spells with these type of symbols. They console with wicked spirits to get power, man. That's what they do, and it works for them, because the Most High has allowed it so that they can be judged at a later time, and the judgment is coming. So all praises goes to Yahweh Bashim Shai Bashim